The glaring studio lights of the top TV set in central London pierce the late afternoon haze on this sweltering day in early September 2025, casting long shadows across the sleek, modern desk where Piers Morgan sat like a sentinel, his trademark scowl etched deeper than usual, tie loosened just enough to hint at the storm brewing beneath his impeccably tailored suit. The show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, had been riding high on ratings fueled by relentless royal commentary, and today's guest was none other than Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, making a rare promotional stop for her latest Archewell initiative on global women's empowerment, a topic that, on paper, should have been a harmonious bridge between the host's bombastic style and her poised advocacy. Meghan glided onto the set with the grace of a former actress-turned-activist, her caramel waves cascading over a crisp white blouse paired with wide-leg trousers in empowering emerald, a subtle nod to resilience, her smile warm yet guarded as she extended a manicured hand across the divide. The audience, a mix of live attendees and remote viewers tuning in via the network's app, held a collective breath. Whispers had circulated for weeks about this make-or-break interview, ever since Piers had teased it on his X feed with a cryptic emoji of a crown cracking under pressure. Cameras rolled, the red light blinking like a heartbeat, and Piers launched in with his signature gravelly timbre. "Meghan, welcome back to Blighty's airwaves, though I hear Montecito's got better weather and fewer leaks. Tell us, how's life post-Spare? Still spilling tea, or have you switched to chamomile?" Her laughter tinkled like fine crystal, light and deflecting, as she pivoted smoothly to Archewell's latest grants for maternal health in underserved communities, her voice a melodic blend of earnest passion and polished diplomacy, eyes sparkling under the cleaves as she recounted a touching anecdote from a recent visit to a clinic in rural Kenya. The exchange flowed for the first 10 minutes, Piers nodding along with feigned approbation, interjecting the occasional "fascinating," while his fingers tapped a staccato rhythm on his tablet, scrolling through prepped questions that delved deeper into the royal rift. But as Meghan expounded on the importance of mental health destigmatization, a callback to her own vulnerabilities shared in that fateful Oprah sit-down, Piers's expression shifted, the avuncular mask slipping to reveal the predator beneath, his brows furrowing like thunderheads. Mental health, bold coming from someone whose every move screams victimhood. Let's cut the fluff. In your book, your interviews, it's always the palace's fault, the press's vendetta. But what about accountability, Meghan? Ever think your own choices fueled the fire? The question landed like a grenade in a garden party, the studio's hush broken only by a faint gasp from the third row, where a young producer fanned herself nervously. Meghan's composure held, her chin lifting with that regal poise honed in the suit's greenroom and Balmoral's echoing halls. "Piers, empowerment isn't about blame, it's about breaking cycles. I've owned my story, flaws and all, to help others do the same." Yet the seed of discord was sown, Piers leaning forward, his voice dropping an octave, eyes locking onto hers with the intensity of a tabloid headline in human form, probing further into the truths of Frogmore's eviction, the children's titles, the endless Sussex saga that had become his personal crusade. The audience watched, transfixed, as the banter edged toward Barb, Meghan's responses measured and empathetic, but Piers's interruptions growing sharper, more insistent, like a barrister cross-examining a suspect rather than a host. Interviewing an icon. Unseen by the cameras, off-air whispers from the control booth urged a commercial break, but the director held firm, sensing the gold in the gathering tension. And so it escalated, word by pointed word, until the air crackled with unspoken histories, friendships soured over a decade ago, when Piers's overtures met Meghan's polite distance, birthing a grudge that festered into public feuds. This wasn't just an interview, it was a reckoning, the kind that simmers in the undercurrents of celebrity and royalty, threatening to boil over into the spectacle that would redefine their legacies. As the clock ticked past the halfway mark, the studio's temperature seemed to rise with the rhetoric, Piers Morgan's chair creaking under his shifting weight as he gestured emphatically with a stack of printed articles, yellowed clippings from the Mail on Sunday's infamous lawsuit days, waved like talismans of vindication. Meghan sat unflinching, her posture a masterclass in serene defiance, fingers interlaced on the desk as if anchoring herself against the tide of his scrutiny, the scent of her subtle jasmine perfume mingling with the faint ozone hum of the lights. "Look, Piers," she interjected during a brief lull, her tone velvet over steel, "we're here to discuss progress, not rehash pain. Archewell's reaching thousands, let's focus on that light, not the shadows you've so kindly illuminated." But Piers, ever the showman, smelled weakness in her grace, his retort slicing through like a broadsword. "Progress. Your Netflix flops and Spotify silences scream otherwise. And don't get me started on the hypocrisy, preaching privacy while plastering your family on Instagram. It's the oldest royal trick. Cry foul on the press, then court it on your terms. The audience murmured, a ripple of divided loyalties, some nodding in agreement with the host's populist punch, others shifting uncomfortably at the personal sting, one elderly fan in the back clutching her program like a shield. Meghan's eyes, those deep wells of quiet strength, flashed with a rare spark of ire, her voice steady but laced with the weight of battles won in courtrooms and therapy rooms alike. Hypocrisy. That's rich from a man whose career thrives on outrage clicks. I've faced racism, isolation, you dismissed my suicidal thoughts as bilge, back in 21. This isn't dialogue, it's deception. The invocation of that old wound, the Ofcom storm that cost him his GMB throne, hung palpably, the set's energy coiling tighter, producers exchanging frantic glances via earpieces as ratings meters spiked off screen. Piers's face reddened, a vein pulsing at his temple, his accent thickening with indignation. Dismissed. I called it what it was, drama for dollars. You ghosted me after one friendly drink, then played the victim card to Oprah. If anyone's dissecting, it's you, carving up the Windsors for your American dream. The exchange accelerated, volleys of words flying faster than fact checks could follow. Meghan countering with stats on media bias against women of color, Piers firing back with anecdotes of woke overreach in Hollywood, the desk between them a no man's land littered with rhetorical shrapnel. Sarah, the floor manager, hovered just off camera, ready to signal cut, but the director's greedy grin said otherwise. This was television dynamite, the kind that births viral clips and think pieces. Suddenly, Meghan leaned in, her voice dropping to a confidential timbre that silenced the room. Piers, we were friends once, or you thought so. But friendship doesn't mean free rein to bully. If this is your idea of uncensored, perhaps I've said enough. It was the pivot, the first crack in the facade, Piers's eyes narrowing to slits as he sensed retreat, pouncing with a triumphant leer. Running already, can't handle the heat from someone who sees through the Duchess act. Sit down, we're not done exposing the real Meghan. The command, barked like an order to a subordinate, ignited the fuse. Meghan's hand rose instinctively, signaling pause, her smile now a thin veneer over resolve, the audience's applause tentative, torn between spectacle and sympathy. Backstage, publicists scrolled X in horror, hashtag Piers vs Meghan already trending, memes of exploding teacups flooding feeds. The tense undercurrent had crested into confrontation, every syllable a step closer to the brink, where civility would shatter like fine bone china under the boot of unbridled ego. In that suspended moment, the world watched not just a talk show unravel, but a grudge match reach its zenith, promising fallout that would echo from London to Los Angeles. The final segment loomed like a guillotine blade, the studio clock glowing 4:58 p.m. as beads of sweat traced invisible paths down Piers Morgan's starched collar, his bluster masking a flicker of unease now that the power dynamic teetered. Meghan Markle, ever the strategist, had regrouped during a lightning-quick water sip, her gaze steady as she steered back to safer shores. Let's end on hope. Piers, tell your viewers about the women rising despite the noise, like those in our program who've turned trauma into triumph. But the host, cornered by her pivot, doubled down with a theatrical flourish, slamming a photo of Prince Harry mid-rant onto the desk. Hope. Spare me. This is about betrayal. Your husband's book trashed his family, and you're the ghostwriter of grudges. Admit it. The Oprah tears were Oscar bait. The accusation exploded, the audience erupting in a cacophony of cheers and jeers, phones aloft capturing the melee in 4K fury destined for eternity on social scrolls. Meghan rose slowly, her chair whispering against the floor like a sigh of surrender, voice calm but resonant over the din. Oscar bait. That's not hope, that's hate. I've built bridges while you've burned them. This exchange, it's why I protect my peace, no more. Piers, sensing the narrative slip, shot to his feet, microphone in hand like a scepter, bellowing into the live feed, protect your peace. By dodging questions and playing saint. You're off this show, Meghan, right now. Security. The word, security, was the detonator, two burly guards materializing from the wings like genies from a bottle, the crowd's gasps morphing into a wave of stunned silence broken by a lone, shame. From the balcony, Meghan, unflappable even in Exodus, gathered her notes with deliberate grace, turning to the camera with a parting gaze that pierced screens worldwide. To anyone watching, choose kindness over clicks. Good night. She swept toward the exit, emerald trousers swishing like a flag of fortitude, Piers's voice chasing her shadow. That's right, run back to California. Can't handle British banter, but the damage was irrevocable, the set descending into pandemonium as the director finally slashed a finger across his throat, cutting to frantic ads for herbal tea and life insurance. Post-broadcast bedlam ensued. Talk TV's switchboard melted under 50,000 calls, X ablaze with hashtag Meghan kicked splitting into camps, Piers's loyalists hailing a truth bomb, Sussex squadrons decrying toxic masculinity in a suit, viral videos amassing millions of views by tea time. Meghan, en route to a waiting black SUV, fired off a poised Archwell update on Instagram, subtly shading conversations that dim lights rather than ignite them, while Piers, alone at his desk amid scattered papers, smirked for the post-show cam, tweeting, "Uncensored means unfiltered," at Meghan Markle couldn't take the heat. Who's next? Fallout rippled globally. Sponsors like luxury. Watch brands paused partnerships, Ofcom's hotline lit up anew, and royal correspondents from The Telegraph to TMZ dissected the ejection, frame by frame, some dubbing it Piers's revenge arc for his 2021 ousting. In Montecito, Harry paced sun-dappled lawns, phone buzzing with support from A-listers like Oprah and Serena, while palace insiders leaked chuckles about Karma's polo mallet. Yet beneath the spectacle, a poignant truth lingered. This wasn't mere TV tantrum, but a microcosm of fractured trust, where old allies become adversaries and vulnerability is weaponized for ratings. As the sun dipped below the Thames, casting the studio in twilight remorse, one reflection endured: in the Colosseum of modern media, no kickoff is without kickback, and Meghan's stride away wasn't defeat, but a declaration of boundaries long overdue. The world, sated on drama, pondered, had Piers won the battle, or lost the war on empathy?